Ladies and gentlemen, there is money to be made this offseason here in Carolina. Someone's going to get it. Question is who? The business he's talking about is esports, a business where, yes, actual physical trades exist. Give me a second. St. John is currently a star player for the Hornets Venom GT, operating under the gamer tag Big Saint. There's actually plenty at stake, not for guys like Bryce, but for guys on the bubble. These guys are trying to make the roster, and tonight is it. The question here is, should the Hornets trade LaMelo Ball? They're going to say no. Joey, he's going to say yes. I'm going to be the judge. That's why I have the hammer here. You're a guy that has done everything in this sport. Why does a third place finish bring tears to your eyes?
I never dreamed of being a car owner.
Came back with 2 straight birdies, so now he is at 4 under for the day at -1 for the tournament. Not saying he's going to win this thing, but it's been an incredible recovery. We got him spot shadowed, falls down trying to get around the pick. Rather than complain, that's what we'd all do. He shakes it off, then off a Hokies turnover, he takes all his anger out with a big dunk.
Michigan football, first and goal.
If you were to ask me to describe Michigan head coach Jim Harbaugh, this is not how I would do it.
He definitely has a heart. I think he's a teddy bear as well.
Clearly, Gastonia resident Liana Bell knows something I don't. Having covered Jim when I worked in Grand Rapids, Michigan, I got to know him as a cantankerous coach. She and her family, however, got to know him in a much different light.
Coach Harbaugh reached out to me and was like, hey, Liana. I was like, hi.
Harbaugh had heard about Liana's son, who at one point might have been on the Wolverines' radar. Demetrius Walker was a star athlete from Muskegon High School who boasted numerous Division I offers. But U of M was the one he was waiting on.
He was just like, I just want Michigan. I'm ready for Michigan. He was going to get it.
But when Harbaugh called in the fall of 2022, it obviously wasn't going to happen. Demetrius was dying from cancer, and Harbaugh wanted to do something special for him.
This was the day that we were invited to the big house, and this is his first touchdown with Harbaugh and the boys.
The day was chronicled by ESPN and other national outlets. It's an experience Liana still thinks about, now more than a year after her son's death.
I have a lot of videos of us going through that tunnel, so I definitely relive that moment all the time.
Jim and his wife apparently do as well. Even though Liana left Michigan for North Carolina last year, the Harbaughs have not lost touch.
They just encourage me and tell me how great Michi was and how he has changed their life.
He inspired them to keep believing. And while it was a joy to see the Wolverines finally win it all this past week, Liana took greater pleasure whenever Harbaugh would bring up her son's name during media interviews.
You know, when people pass, you would think the world will stop, but it just keeps going. And he's just never forgotten.
The entire thing is bittersweet.
He's supposed to be here. He was supposed to be here celebrating with us.
Instead, Demetrius is now an immortal Wolverine.
It's like I felt the presence.
Still inspiring, still connecting, and still bringing out the best in everyone. If you were watching the Panthers and Bucks play their games side by side this afternoon, man, were you on a roller coaster. Both games kicked off around 1. Both had to frustrate Panther fans to no end. We'll start with Tampa. They were at one point good this year. Now they're not. Back in the second quarter, they were having all sorts of problems. Miami was leading 17-7 at the break. While that was happening, Carolina was holding its own against the best team in the NFC. The Panthers and Seahawks were actually tied at 3 going into the second half. Remember, a win would have clinched the division for Carolina over Tampa, but that never happened. In the third quarter, Carolina suffered a major meltdown. Right after they picked off Sam Darnold, Chuba Hubbard fumbled the ball. It would lead to a touchdown. Seahawks led 10-3. Next drive for the Panthers, they looked to respond, but look what happened. Bryce Young throwing, he's going to get picked off. Julian Love with the interception. Seattle getting it back in Carolina territory, and they would cash in moments later. Darnold, 1 touchdown pass on the day. It happened on this 17-yard strike to A.J. Barner. 14 straight from the Seahawks. They were up 17-3 going into the fourth. Panthers would go on to lose this one 27-10. And if that weren't bad enough, the Bucs lost to the Dolphins 20-17. So a lost opportunity for the Panthers, and now it all comes down to next week. Win that game, the division is Carolina's. After an up and down season, Maybe it's only fitting it ends that way. For more on what happened, though, today at the bank, we send it back out to Gabe and Gia.
That's just great football, and so I'm really proud of him for, just playing with the kind of effort that we were expecting from him.
Man, it sounds like Panthers rookie Nick Scorton made a real good impression in his first ever preseason game. In the loss to the Browns, he finished with 2 tackles. However, it was the play in which he didn't get the hit that had everyone talking. We're going to pull it up right here. It was in the second quarter with the Browns driving. Their rookie quarterback, Shedeur Sanders, tried to make his move. There you see number 11, Scorton, cuts him off. Sanders going to come back the other way. He thinks he's seen the last of Scorton. Football field, 160 feet wide. In 6 seconds, Scorton turned on a dime, came back the other way, and was able to force him out. That then brings us to Rico Dowdle. I like Rico. I know you like Rico. But let's not kid ourselves. Carolina's breakout back probably won't be back next season. Dowdle bet on himself taking a 1-year deal with Carolina and ended up getting 1,000 yards on the season. It's time he gets rewarded for those efforts, but I don't think it's going to happen here with the Panthers. It's more likely he'll find it somewhere else. Last but not least, let's talk defense. Unlike Rico, I don't think Christian Roseboom will be a one and done here in Carolina. Thanks to injuries last year, the veteran linebacker was a surprise addition to the starting lineup. With Trevin Wallace often dealing with injuries himself, Roseboom stepped up and ended up leading the team with 122 tackles over 15 starts. Granted, he was a liability at times in coverage, but overall, Carolina was better when he was out there. Folks, the clock is ticking. The negotiating window starts Monday. Signing period begins Wednesday, the 11th. There was a time when chaos was the norm for defenses all across the NFL.
Everybody all 11 looking the sideline and getting the calls.
Communication breakdowns were the norm, and offenses ran wild.
Pass wide open.
That is, until the league decided to level the playing field.
When we got the green dot in 2008, it just made so many of those things simpler.
The green dot that Panthers defensive coordinator Ejiro Evero is talking about is the logo found on the helmet of one of his players. Typically, it's the middle linebacker that wears it.
They're in the middle of the defense.
And that's why they've got the radio in their helmet, allowing crucial information to be streamlined from the sideline.
Starts off with the calls, obviously, and that could be the front, the coverage, any alerts, checks we have, and then he might say, like, hey, tell so-and-so this and tell so-and-so that. He's usually pretty good about not having too many things.
Inside the headset,
the player hears this. The sound is pretty clear, but when you have tens of thousands of screaming fans, it can get a little challenging.
Sometimes it is hard to hear, so you see the guys cover up their ears or whatever to hear it.
Communication is a one-way street, meaning coaches can talk to the player, but not the other way around.
I don't want to hear what they have to say.
That's because there's quite a bit of hurry-up involved. Instructions start once the play clock begins. Once it reaches 15 seconds,
It just goes up beep, 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 and then it's off.
from there, it's the responsibility of the person with the green dot to pass along the information to the other players on the field.
If you don't get the call to the guys, the offense ain't waiting for you to get the call.
As you can imagine, it can get pretty stressful.
Quick pass to get that and then some.
Then again,
For a couple of years there, when the offense had and the defense didn't, there was a big, in my opinion, competitive advantage for them.
it is better than the alternative.
All right, we're set. Lock and Luke kick off live.